My name is Fashilu Elizabeth Oroluwa. Welcome to my digital story. My interest in studying media and communication studies started when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I always asked questions about the existence of advertisement. What is the probability that people will respond to it directly? And what are the basic things that make the product advertised part of the consumer's life? These questions made me have a lot of interest in media and communication. In getting broad knowledge and answers to my confusion, I discovered that studying it as a course won't give me the best knowledge, but also carrying out a research on advertising. Research work, to my understanding, is discovering a problem related to one interest and providing a solution to it. After some weeks in my research module in Media, Culture and Communication Studies in Coventry University, I was told to submit a working proposal of my project. I chose the topic The Perception on Cigarette Advertisement, a case study of adolescents in Nigeria. But having discussed with my tutor, I discovered that there is no new knowledge I will get from this research. I carried out my research and of course got something related to my interest. I came up with a topic: the differences in advertising approach of two different brands. I chose Armani and denim jeans as a case study. My aim is to look at the kind of meaning consumers attach to Armani and denim jeans to create their identity. The first thing to consider when carrying out a research is to look at the method of data collection. In my first essay, I chose a qualitative interview research method as a means of collecting materials. I chose this method because this method sees far beyond how often and how many something is. It looks at the reason and prepares to extend and widen our knowledge of the social world. I learned that interview is the act of interrogating a participant either by oral or written form, and it involves the interviewer asking the interview questions relevant to the research. I discussed the types of interview, which are unstructured, semi-structured, and structured. After all, I chose the structured interview as my means of data collection. Unstructured interview involves the interview curiosity to discover additional points about the topic with absence of a structured or an organized plan. It can also be called in-depth interview because one thing leads to another. As the researcher asks the interview questions, from the responses of the interview, the researcher can also bring up another question which is relevant to the research. It is only carried out with one person at a time, that is, the interviewer and the interviewee. Actually, at the initial stage, I decided to use the focus group and interview, but having discussed with my tutor, I realized it will make the research complicated. Thereafter, I had to stick to just the unstructured interview, which will enable me to deal with one person at a time. The second stage in carrying out a research is analyzing the materials collected, and I chose the IPA method of analysis, which is interpretative phenomenological analysis. It is like a branch of phenomenology as a theory of analysis. Phenomenological analysis is an analytical perspective to the study of human experience. It helped me to look at and understand what and how the world seemed to other people. IPA seems phenomenological in the sense that it inquires the experiences in its own expression, and it sees into the experiences of what the people is like and what the person derives from his or her experience. Experience is a very complicated concept. Anything, no matter how small it is that happened, in a particular period is called experience. This move by the researcher to gather information from people's experiences is traced to the theory of interpretative brought by hermeneutics. This theory is relevant to my research because having decided to look into people's experiences with genes, this method gives room for me to interpret the information collected or the experiences collected from people. These two, that is, IPA and hermeneutics, are used simultaneously because there can't be any phenomenology without a hermeneutic, and also vice versa. Having done this, it increased my urge and interest in knowing reasons why people carry out some actions at some certain times and how people attach their experiences with stuff to their daily activities and to their personality. I carried out an interview with 2 people, focusing on their feeling and interest in wearing of jeans. Of course, before carrying out the interview, I asked for their consent and as well briefed them the reason for the interview according to the ethics of research. The next stage is the approaches to research. Having done the collecting data and also analyzing data, I carried out another research on the approaches to research work. This time, I gave details of the different ways of understanding identity in audience research as an approach to research. Audience research means exactly the way it sounds, that is, audience and research. That is, carrying out a research with a targeted audience. I have chosen the consumer of jeans as my audience. Carrying out an audience research in fashion, that is, jeans wearing, according to my case study, is practically talking about the type of identity people have in the social society because they are interwoven and crucial to each other, that is, identity and the audience. The representation of oneself starts from the representation of one fashion sense. In other words, what this is trying to say is that the way we dress sometimes might be attached to who we are. Now, this is my dissertation plan. My research experience has been very interesting. The coursework I did on a research module has made me read at length as regards my topic. Now I have a broad idea. I have a broad instance of what my topic is all about. I became aware that in carrying out a research, there are so many things one must put into consideration, like narrowing down the topic of your research as possible. The goal and aim must be substantial, and most importantly, studying extremely on the study to get facts and figures that are related and helpful to the research. With this idea and knowledge acquired from my research module timeline, I plan to restructure my project topic in a better way so as to make it more meaningful and worth doing, and to crown it all, to get the real answers to the questions I've been asking myself. Thank you so much for watching my digital story. Once again, I am Oroluwa Fashino.